On today's Business Matters, Apple is known for launching new products in the fall, but according to a new report, Apple is also planning to another launch event early next year, or product. Bloomberg, citing sources, reports that Apple is planning to release the budget-friendly iPhone 17e during the first half of 2026. The company is also reportedly planning to release multiple iPads as well as upgraded MacBook Pros. Consumers don't have to wait until next year for new Apple products. Apple is launching an iPhone 17, a thinner one, and new Apple Watches, as well as a faster version of the Vision Pro headset later this year. In the tech industry, there's a big push underway to develop new types of consumer electronics powered by artificial intelligence. Samsung is looking into wearable devices, potentially including earrings and necklaces. The company envisions a new wave of AI devices that allows users to communicate and get things done without having to take out a phone. That's possible because several AI services are getting better at complex tasks. With that, the major tech industry players can consider devices that don't need as much manual input as smartphones. Samsung says smart jewelry is definitely a possibility to fill this need. The company's approach will involve a device that's a companion to your phone, similar to a smartwatch, rather than a standalone product. Samsung and at least 2 other companies are developing smart glasses. Meta already has their Ray-Ban AI glasses, with 2 million sold in 2 years. And layoffs aren't surging right now, but a new jobs report released Thursday shows it's still tough out there for job seekers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, initial claims for unemployment benefits fell last week. However, continuing claims rose to their highest level since late 2021. That means fewer layoffs, but more people are staying unemployed longer. Roughly 227,000 Americans filled first-time jobless claims, down 5,000 from the week before. Continuing claims spiked by 10,000 to nearly 2 million. Economists say the labor market has cooled as employers pull back on hiring, not necessarily cutting jobs. Nearly a quarter of unemployed workers have been out of a job for over 6 months. Analysts say tariffs, immigration cuts, and trimmed federal spending are all weighing on hiring. A new TikTok app may be coming for users in the US, and that could mean an almost entirely different user experience. President Trump has repeatedly delayed enforcement of a law requiring TikTok's China-based parent company ByteDance to sell it or face a ban in the US. Now Trump says there's a buyer. Meanwhile, TikTok is reportedly building a new version of the app just for the US that could launch as soon as September. News of a possible new app doesn't really come as a surprise. What makes TikTok tick, so to speak, is the algorithm that powers the mega popular For You page. The Chinese regime has repeatedly said it would block any transfer of the app's algorithm to a new owner. That means any new separate American TikTok would need its own algorithm. Meanwhile, Britain's economy contracted unexpectedly for a second month running in May. Official data showed on Friday. It added to worries at home for Finance Minister Rachel Reeves as the nation faces an increasingly uncertain global environment. Here's more.
Britain's economy contracted unexpectedly for a second month running in May. Official data released Friday showed gross domestic product fell 0.1% after a 0.3% drop in April. It adds to worries for Finance Minister Rachel Reeves as the global economy turns more uncertain. The country's services sector saw a small amount of growth, but falls in industrial output and construction dragged down overall output. The reading poses downside risks to expectations the economy grew in the second quarter after a surge early in the year. It also raised market expectations the Bank of England will cut interest rates next month. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour government has struggled to meaningfully improve growth in its first year in office. Economists say it looks likely Reeves will need to raise taxes again in her next budget, which was something she'd hoped to avoid.
Tesla said on Thursday it will hold its annual shareholder meeting on November 6th. The announcement comes a day after a group of investors urged the Elon Musk-led electric automaker to set a date, citing legal obligations. Here's more.
Tesla confirmed Thursday it will hold its annual shareholder meeting on November 6th. The electric vehicle giant's announcement comes a day after a group of investors urged it to set a date and cited legal obligations. The last meeting was held in June 2024, and since then a series of events have hurt Tesla's stock. Those include CEO Elon Musk's public feud with President Donald Trump, and the end of EV tax credits and a slump in sales due to an aging vehicle lineup. It's all raised investor concerns, and Tesla shares have lost 38% since hitting a record high in December. The automaker also wants to pivot to self-driving technologies for future growth. Investors worry Musk's political ambitions could hurt Tesla after he recently launched the America Party. Tesla's board set July 31st as the new deadline for the submission of shareholder proposals to be included in the proxy statement. The carmaker was close to missing a deadline under Texas law. It allows investors to seek legal option in case a company fails to hold a shareholder meeting within 13 months of holding a previous one.
President Trump's big, beautiful bill aimed to fulfill a campaign promise he made to workers last fall. But no tax on tips or overtime is more complicated than the shorthand implies. Here's a breakdown of who qualifies and when.
The White House says that with the signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act on July 4th, the president fulfilled a campaign promise of no taxes on tips or overtime. But tax experts say workers won't feel relief in their next paycheck. Employers will still withhold federal taxes from tips and overtime through the end of 2025. Instead, eligible workers will have to wait until next tax season for either a bigger refund or a reduced tax payment.
There's no benefit right now. It's going to be when they file their tax return, and then do they meet the criteria? Do they have support?
Tom O'Sabin of the National Association of Tax Professionals says that tax professionals are still seeking clarity from the IRS in some areas of the new law, like specifics on eligible workers. What they do know is that workers in jobs that traditionally receive tips will be able to deduct up to $25,000 in tip income from their federal income taxes on their 2025 tax return. And workers who receive overtime could deduct up to $12,500 of that extra pay. Income limits will apply, and the tax break is temporary through the end of 2028. O'Sabin says the changes make it even more important for workers to track their tips.
Documentation becomes even more important. Otherwise, the deduction won't apply because it could be challenged by IRS and disallowed.
And the new federal law doesn't change tax law for individual states. State income taxes still apply to both tips and overtime.
The Department of Education says interest will resume on student loans starting next month. The move complies with an injunction that blocked parts of the Biden-era student debt plan earlier this year. The Saving on a Valuable Education Plan was launched in 2023, but was ruled unlawful by a federal appeals court earlier this year. Under the plan, loan payments calculated student loan payments based on the individual's income and family size and prevented interest from getting accrued. The department says borrowers won't be charged retroactive interest and will be contacted with options to move to legal repayment plans. It said it would reach out to more than 7 million people with student debt. A potential game changer on U.S. soil, a new mine in Wyoming will be the first rare earth minerals site in the United States since the 1950s. The mining company's CEO told NTD's David Lamb what this means for the U.S.
In Wyoming, the first new rare earth mine in the United States in more than 70 years. Ahead of the Brook Mine's official opening on Friday, NTD spoke to Ramaco Resources CEO Randall Atkins.
What makes this project unique compared to other domestic mining projects?
Well, it's unique in a number of respects. This is the first time that rare earth has really been found in coal in sufficient concentrations to be commercially viable. So it's a really groundbreaking for really not only coal but rare earths, because they're found in something that's not radioactive like most other type.
Ramaco says the Brook Mine could provide major source materials needed for military technology, batteries, medical devices, and more. According to Ramaco, China currently holds a heavy concentration of these minerals, which makes this new mine a game changer for American independence.
We will be processing it domestically because, again, it's not radioactive, which is why most of the rare earths found in the United States, frankly, are shipped overseas. MP sells all of its rare earths in China because they're radioactive. And it will eventually, of course, all of them will be used domestically. So this is kind of a Team USA effort. And so ultimately, we may even go beyond just simply manufacturing oxides. We may take it all the way to making magnets and potentially even wafers for semiconductors.
He says they already started mining about a month ago, and they will develop materials to use in a pilot plant that will start this summer.
And then we would be in a position to sell commercial oxides probably by, I'd say, late 27 or 28. We may try to accelerate that process because, candidly, the government wants to accelerate the ability to get our nation on a sounder footing for supplies of rare earths.
Atkins believes this project will put Wyoming on the map as a rare earth capital, with the Brook Mine reportedly being the largest unconventional deposit in North America. David Lamb, NTD News.
Swiss researchers have developed a new method to efficiently recover rare earth elements from electronic waste. The novel approach could advance sustainable recycling and reduce mining reliance. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the details.
Rare earth elements play a crucial role in modern electronics, but the energy and chemical effort to separate elements in the materials is expensive. Currently, less than 1% of rare earth materials are recycled. ETH Zurich has developed a new method, progress from an initially crude process.
At the very beginning, I was actually collecting these broken light bulbs, and I was smashing them and doing all the extraction myself. Now, luckily, we work with recyclers.
The discovery comes as the European Union is pushing toward greater recycling of rare earth metals. The EU's 2023 Critical Raw Material Act aims to mine 10%, process 40%, and recycle 25% of its needs by 2030. ETH Zurich's process could help meet that goal.
These elements, they have very close properties, and this is why their separation and the extraction has such a big environmental impact because they have really close properties.
The next goal is to bring the technology to scale by working with industrial partners. Perrin hopes that will eventually lead to in-house recycling capacity.
I think the long-term vision for us is more to be able to develop these little recycling boxes that then can be implemented either at recyclers or within industries that use these rare earth elements in their supply chain, so they can have in-house recycling of their own materials.
According to business consultant Alex Partners, China currently dominates the rare earth metals market, controlling up to 70% of global rare earths mining and 85% of refining capacity. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
President Trump issued a blanket 35% tariff on all Canadian goods, the latest in a busy week of trade moves. The president of Brazil is threatening to retaliate after Trump levies a 50% tariff on goods from that nation. NTD correspondent Jason Blair has the update.
President Trump says a 35% blanket tariff on Canadian goods will take effect on August 1st. In a letter, Trump says that instead of working with the U.S. on the fentanyl crisis after the U.S. imposed an earlier tariff on Canada, Canada retaliated with their own tariffs. Trump says that Canada has called since the announcement, but no new developments yet.
It was sent yesterday. They called. I think it was fairly well received, because it's what we need. So we'll see what happens.
So far this week, 22 countries have received letters about new tariff rates from the Trump administration. One of those is Brazil, with a 50% blanket tariff starting on August 1st. Trump cites an ongoing trial with Brazil's former president. The president of Brazil threatens retaliation, saying any unilateral tariff increases will be addressed in accordance with Brazil's economic reciprocity law. President Trump says he hasn't spoken with Brazil's president yet.
Maybe at some point I'll talk to him. Right now, I'm not. They're treating President Bolsonaro very unfairly. He's a good man.
And Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that the U.S. is resetting tariff rates globally.
At the end of the day, the United States has built these tremendous trade imbalances over the last 30 or 40 years. It's unfair to American and American workers. Trade needed to be revisited. The president campaigned on that. And that's what he's doing, and he's resetting it on a global scale. We're resetting tariff levels with virtually every country in the world.
White House Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought tells CNBC that the tariffs are doing well so far.
Tariffs have not led to inflation as all the experts said that they would. We're cutting spending, we're reducing the deficit, the tariffs are bringing in incredible amounts of revenue, $3 trillion over 10 years and counting.
Also this week, President Trump says a 50% tariff on copper imports will start on August 1st. Copper prices hit a record high after the announcement. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Jason Blair, NTD News.
An original Hermes bag owned by British actor and singer Jane Birkin just sold for a whopping $8.2 million. It's the most expensive handbag to ever sell at auction. The scuffed and stained black leather handbag sold online by Sotheby's in Paris. It was the inspiration for the iconic Hermes design after Birkin told the fashion house in 1984 that she needed a practical bag half the size of her suitcase for daily life. Hermes delivered the bag to her in 1985. Birkin sold it in 1994 to benefit AIDS research, and it has changed private hands more than once. And onto Wall Street. It ended lower today after President Trump's tariffs announcement. Uncertainty over U.S. trade policy weighed on markets. Meta Platforms shared slipped around 1% amid EU antitrust concerns, contributing to the broader decline. In contrast, Nvidia rose about 0.5% to a record high, reaching a $4 trillion market cap. For the week, all three major indexes fell, with investors now shifting their focus to second quarter earnings. Analysts expect S&P 500 companies to post almost 6% year-over-year earnings growth, led by tech, despite pressure from tariffs. And that's it for today's Business Matters.